Once you find yourself in conflict with a narcissist, it's a virtual guarantee they're going to start playing head games with you. That's why I put together a new course. It's very extensive called Anger Games. I'm going to teach you how to manage anger and conflict with a narcissist. There's a link below that's going to show you how to register, and I hope that you find it to be very insightful. Let's think a little common sense here as we begin. I want you to think, how many people do you know who have been exposed to strongly narcissistic individuals, those who are strongly dominant and overbearing and controlling and not terribly interested in who you are, manipulative, superior, etc. How many people do you know who can say, yeah, I walked away from all of that and I'm just great. Everything's fine. Everything's wonderful. That was just something that happened to me. Doesn't work like that, does it? When you've had those kind of exposures, you're going to have some scars that are going to be left on the inside of you, psychological, emotional scars. And when I say scars, evidence that that person did something to you that was very unfavorable. They took you to a place where you felt pain, you felt dysregulation. And even though you may be away from that narcissist, or even though you may be gaining a great deal of maturity and knowledge and learning, you can still carry those scars, that evidence that says, I was hurt, I was mistreated, and from time to time, things show up that indicate that I'm still feeling some of the effects of what I've been through. That's what I mean when I say psychological scars. Now, I was in the practice of therapy, as you all know. Over 40 years, I would listen to all sorts of stories. Maybe somebody was married to the wrong person, or they had a miserable family situation that they came out of, a social setting that they thought was going to be wonderful, where they wound up being a scapegoat instead, or a work scenario where it was dominated by a tyrant, or there are so many different possibilities. And you can say that I was in the process, in the business of counseling, but actually what we did in my therapy office could be more described as pain management. How am I going to manage the pain? What am I going to do with those leftover scars that are a part of having been exposed to very inappropriate people? Now, today, I'm going to give you a 12-point list. It's a checklist. I want you to go through each of these with me and kind of determine out of these 12, which one of these relate to you most. These are evidences that says you're carrying some of the pain. And then we're going to take a look at what you can do with it so that you can soothe some of the pain that those scars represents. So let's get to it and see what they would be. Number one on the list of evidences of scars that you would carry is, and it depends on the nature of the relationship, your sense of love and goodness has been drained from you. There can be times when you look back and you think, I don't even know if I can ever love anyone again. I don't know if it's even possible to be in a good kind of relationship. And you wind up keeping other individuals at arm's length because it's like, I've been burned way too many times. I don't know that I want to put myself in harm's way again. That's a very strong evidence. Number two on my list, and that is you can take responsibility, too much responsibility, for minimizing another person's agitations. You can think back and say, yeah, that person that harmed me and was difficult hurt me a lot. And so I'd have to wonder, okay, if I say this the right way, if I say this the wrong way, am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to be damaged? And what do I have to do to make sure that that doesn't happen? You wind up being responsible for the agitation and irritability that they dump onto you. It's their deal, but they make it all about you, don't they? Number three, and that is you have learned to distrust calm moments. There can be times in some of your circumstances where you think, hey, things are going pretty good. And then it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, I've had this episode before. Things have looked pretty good, but it didn't work out the way I wanted to. And as a result, even when you do have pleasant circumstances, your history can be such that it leaves that wound inside of you that says, yeah, but something's going to blow up. I don't know what, I don't know when, but it's going to happen. Evidence number four that you're carrying scars is that you have lots of internal rules and regulations that you apply to. For example, you know that narcissist may have said, you'd better be this way, you can't be that way, you're supposed to prioritize this, and so you internalize it, and you think, okay, I've got to make sure that I'm keeping everything according to the standard so I don't get into any kind of trouble. And actually, when you have that rules and regulations, you wind up being so focused on outward performances that you hardly really know who the real you is. Number 5, and this, I don't know if this is the biggest one, but it's a really large one, and that is you carry resentments and bitterness with you, and it can be raw. I've talked to so many people who look back and they can think, yeah, I got a really bad deal. I was defrauded. I was betrayed. I was abused by the very people that I entrusted my life with, and they messed me over really big. And you can just sense when they do that, they're just dripping with resentment. Now, the anger and the frustration they have can be very legitimate. And yet when it takes over to the point where a person is almost defined by that resentment or bitterness, that's when we know the scarring has been carried on to a very exaggerated extent. Number 6, and this is a very common one, and that is you can justify or defend yourself when it's not necessary. You feel the need to justify who you are, why you make decisions you make, why you think the way you do, and you elaborate way too fully and unnecessarily about why it's okay for you to be you. Just calm down. It's okay to be what you are. It's like, no, I got to come up with a great explanation for anything and everything. That's a scar that says you've been wounded. A 7th indicator that you've been scarred is that you carry annoyance and intolerance toward other individuals when differences appear. In other words, there's a certain kind of negativity that you carry with you. Simple frustrations can cause you to blow up, and you can think, well, I've just been storing up and suppressing and experiencing so many frustrating circumstances, I don't want to have to hold it in anymore, to the extent that it becomes too prominent, and even a tiny little disagreement can set you off far too much. It's what I call giving $20 of frustration to a 5 cent situation. Number 8 on my list. And this is an interesting one, and that is you can ask unnecessary questions. For example, you may say something, then you'll say, does that make sense? Or it may be that you'll be talking about something, and it's like, are you upset with me? Or what do you think? And you're constantly checking in with other individuals. The implication is, I don't believe in who I am, so I've got to make sure that you validate me. A 9th indicator that you're carrying psychological scars, and that is, and this is a very big one, you're very reluctant to reveal mistakes or just a lack of information on something. It may be that's like, well, if I say I don't know about something or if I blew it, I'm going to get the hammer, and I don't want that. I've had so many times where I was shamed or I was redirected towards something else, or I was told I was too stupid to even be bothered with. So you don't want to reveal who you really are down in that kind of direction. Number 10, and this is a common one. And that is, sometimes your scar is evidenced by the fact that you go into self-sabotaging behavior. Sometimes people are so damaged by other individuals, they take a who cares attitude, and they become rebellious. They can go into addictions. They can hang out with the wrong kind of people. They have lots of irresponsibilities. And when you try to talk with them about doing a lot better job, it's like, what difference does it make? And so they sabotage themselves, knowing that it's not going to be any good anyway. People are going to get mad at me. That's their scar. An 11th indicator is that you can receive judgment and shame that does not belong to you. Narcissists are very known for being harsh and condescending and judgmental. You're either in the club or you're not. You measure up, you don't. And as a result, it's like, well, I'm doomed before I even show up. And so before I even do anything wrong. And so you just walk around thinking, well, I know that people are going to be down on my case. And so you allow yourself to make that part of who you really are, when in fact, no, it tells us a whole lot more about who they are. And then number 12, and that is, you can indulge extreme thoughts about future closeness with people. Now, on one hand, you can have the extreme thought of saying, screw it, I don't want to be with these individuals. Why would I even bother? And you can have a very distant, leave me alone attitude. Or you can go to the other extreme and you can think, I've got to have someone. I'm desperate for somebody to tell me that I'm okay. Either direction, it says that you're carrying some sort of pain and it's showing up in the way that you attach or don't. Now, I think as you are able to identify these 12 indicators that you're carrying emotional wounds, it's important for you to ask, is this the kind of person that I want to be? Let's keep in mind that narcissists are highly codependent, and by that I mean they play off of you and everybody else. They need your supply. They need people to prop them up, and then in reverse, you can play that role of the in the codependent, and you can kind of go along with that. What would the independent you be like? It's going to be so essential for you to recognize, okay, that happened to me. I acknowledge it. I don't deny. I don't invalidate the feelings and thoughts that I had that were experienced there. But where am I going to go from this day forward? Now, I'm hoping there are several thoughts that you can hold on to. Number one, I hope that you can think, you know what? I'm stronger than that narcissist ever gave me credit for being. I'm going to live into that. Beyond that, I'm also going to remind myself that my past does not define who I am today. In fact, let's take it even further and say the pain that I have experienced from my past is going to become a teacher to me. I'm going to learn from what has happened to me. And here on Team Healthy, we talk about DRC, dignity, respect, and civility. I'm hoping you can remind yourself dignity is a choice. Respect is a choice. Civility is a choice. Those people did not choose that. I do. That's what defines me. That's what I'm going to live into. And taking it beyond that, you can remind yourself, I get to determine my own values, my standards, my preferences, and rather than allowing someone else's dysfunction define me, I don't have to live with their impositions upon me like that anymore. In the past, you were scarred. In the present, you are now healing. In the future, you can look forward to what you will become. Yes, you are going to carry scars. You're going to carry evidences that you were wounded, but then we're going to say, but I'm going to be somebody who listens to the pain that's there. I'm going to learn what is necessary, and I'm moving forward. I'm not going to stay stuck in my past where they want me to be. I hope that videos such as this can give you some good food for thought. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, please do, and we're going to keep more videos of this nature coming towards you. Many times when you watch videos like this, it can trigger you. It can make you think, I could use some therapy myself. Well, I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy resource where we have licensed professional therapists that can assist you. You go through the link that's provided below the video, and there's a few questions you have to fill out. And then it can be so good when you find someone that says, I want to know you. And I want to hear from you. I want to figure out what's cooking on the inside so that we can move in a healthy direction. Please, as the need is there, get that assistance. Now, as a part of that, in addition, I also have some courses that are available. I'm no longer in my therapy practice, but I've put together online classes. You can do it at your own pace, and you can use it with people in your own personal life. Each course has at least 25 video lessons, and each lesson has extensive handouts that go along with it, along with guided questions. We have my newest one called Anger Games, how not to get sucked into their anger that they want to pull you in with. We also have This Is Me, about boundaries, free to be, finding yourself, Ready, Set, Connect, making healthy connections. We have plenty of those. In addition, I've put together webinars, and those are 90-minute presentations. All of this is on the website, along with access to our podcast, many articles, and of course my book. So lots of things that I hope that you'll find to be helpful. There can be those evidences that you're carrying scars, that it did hurt. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be all that there is about you. You're not lame. It's not like you're so injured that you're unable to move forward. The fact is you can move forward. And that's what we're all about here on this channel here on Team Healthy. So as you think about these things, I'm hoping that you can decide I'm going to be somebody that is a lifelong learner. And in the process, I'm hoping you realize that kind of mindset is going to take you to a good place of peace. I so want you to find your peace.